we talk a lot on this show about messaging. Mm-hmm. And a critical component of messaging is like the words you choose to use.
Of course.
And the words that you use to communicate something. And I think Pete Hegseth this week really took that to heart when he decided we were going to rename in the spirit of America's warrior ethos and restoring badassery and being cool and being a man and that sort of thing back to the military, that it was time to rename the Department of Defense, sissy, liberal, and lame, to the Department of War, really cool and awesome and sick.
God, dude, we have a fucking Redditor-occupied government. It's so fucking unfortunate.
It's horrible.
It's
just so fucking stupid, man.
Like, I'm glad we're dropping the pretext by calling it Department of War, because, like, that's what it's always been, you know what I mean? But it's so fucking corny. Like, the fascists that run our government are just pale, hollow reflections of what used to be.
Because it's like, it's corny to say we're calling it the Department of War because we actually like war and we need to remind people that war is cool and actually America needs to go on the offense. Motherfucker, we've been on the offense.
Yeah.
For a
years,
while
for
now.
a long time, man. We did so many coups when it was called the Department of Defense.
Yes.
Like, we were famous for doing that.
Was the war on terror a defensive war? No.
It's just like, it's to me, it's just fucking embarrassing. Like, these are the villains that we have. Like, every generation has their villains, whether it be like the anti-imperialist movement. You know, they had people like Donald Rumsfeld and Henry Kissinger and whatnot. Obviously, people in the past have been, you know, anti-Reagan, anti-Bush. All these people have had like real villains. While they might have been stupid, they at least like, we knew that they were being strategic to some extent, right? Or they had people around them that were being strategic.
Or even it's not that they were stupid. It's like they were just evil.
Yeah.
They were evil, but they like competently executed it on
But like the people that we in this generation have to go up against as we stare down the barrel of authoritarianism is fucking people like Pete Hegseth, fucking RFK Jr., and of course Donald Trump himself. Like, these people are, it's just, it embarrasses me.
It is.
Like why are these the people that we have?
Like, why do I have to rally against this?
Yeah.
Like, why is it that they've garnered so much support somehow that I actually have to like fight against this? And why are they not laughed out of positions? How have people like Pete Hegseth even begun to be elevated to positions of power? Mm-hmm. That guy is lame. That guy is annoying. Yeah. He's like everything you think of that is wrong with like dudes that are too obsessed with the military.
He's lame. He's fucking stupid. It makes me miss Henry Kissinger. Like, genuinely. Like, Henry Kissinger, evil guy, right? He is in hell right now. It's crazy that he lived to 100 years old. Evil people often do. But like, at the very least, he was somebody to fight against.
Yeah.
We got fucking Pete Hegseth.
Like, how do I even begin to fucking argue against, like, we need Department of War, America's warrior ethos. This trans service members need to be gone because it's distracting dudes from being able to kill better. Every other word out of this dude's mouth is lethality just for some virtue signally reason. Mm-hmm. These guys don't, like, believe in anything. And that's why I feel we talked about on the show, like, a while ago, like, this new generation of conservatives don't like have it like the old
did. Not at all.
People like Mitch McConnell and Henry Kissinger, to your point, they like were about it, and they like ideologically believed in evil, and you could tell that they had like arrived at that from perverse axioms. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But this new generation came up looking up to those guys, and they never did the like work to understand how those evil positions came to be something that they adopted. They just kind of like the aesthetics of it. Yeah. And you can tell because they're sauceless. It's like Pete Hegseth was, oh, Christmas bombing, that was cool.
Dude, Henry Kissinger committed treason to prevent LBJ from ending the Vietnam War just so Nixon could get that layup. Like they're not doing it like our evil men used to.
Those people played the game. Yes. And conservatives now, just like, they don't even pretend to play the game. They're DEI hires. Yeah. They're what people think that DEI hires are.
Henry Kissinger killed like hundreds of thousands of people across Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos.
Yeah.
And we didn't know about it until years and years later. These fucking idiots televise when they bomb a boat. Like, and I don't want our people to be more strategic or like good at killing people, of course, but it just embarrasses me that like these are the forces that we're up against.
Yes, like this is what's in power right now. Yes. And that's why I say they're like DEI hires, because it's like they didn't get here off their own merits. They're just riding momentum that they're standing on the shoulders of giants, really.
Yeah.
They didn't earn this. Yeah. You think Pete Hegseth fucking earned becoming the secretary of the DOD by his like Fox News repertoire?
Yeah. If DEI hires, quote unquote, is a real thing according to their worldview, then it applies to them more than anybody else. Like, it's fucked up, man. A theme of this episode is going to be about RFK. Like,
it's about people who have been put in positions of power that are incompetent and can't do their job and are like anti-qualified. It's absolutely absurd. And then it's like the moment they rename it the Department of War, which it's going to cost money to replace all those fucking letterheads, but it doesn't matter how much money the government spends when it comes to Trump's like cultural bullshit. It only matters when it's money for like PBS.
Yeah.
When it's money for PBS or stopping infectious diseases across the globe.
Yeah.
It's absurd, man.
Everything is just a fucking culture war issue. Like, all they have is cultural grievances.
Yeah.
Like, they've got the cultural grievances, like all the violence and aggression that they weaponize towards immigrants. And then they got stupid shit like Department of War or like, don't show them booing me at the U.S. Open. It's so fucking stupid.
And then Trump names the Department of War. And then his like, the first thing he seemingly does now with this new Department of War is say Chicago's about to see what what we mean when we say Department of War, and with an AI image condemnable in of itself.
The fucking AI image of them napalming down this fucking central loop of
everything
Chicago.
About that just awful.
It's just, what am I supposed to do with this, man?
And it's like, how can you get away with renaming the DOD, the DOW, the Department of Defense, Department of War, and then say we're going to show Chicago war? Mm-hmm. If Joe Biden did that, man, all of these like state militia people would be up in arms.
Yeah, I wish I had the fucking video, but like Pete Hegseth was at that announcement, like the signing of that document, and he did it wasn't even like a poem.
Yeah,
do you know what
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the lines, but they were fucking
lethal quickness, not political correctness.
It was giving Hakeem Jeffries ABCs of MAGA.
Yeah. Everybody here just wants to be a theater kid. And like, I'm interested in making the country better.
Well, because like I never really understood the saying that like politics is Hollywood for ugly people until like this administration and like now, because it really is just theater.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing about anything that they do is serious. It's fake. It's fictitious.
It's either wannabe theater kids that just couldn't cut it, so now they're doing politics, or liberal bureaucrats that just want to fiddle with the knobs all day and feel accomplished. Like, nobody has actual like a spirit for change or like making people's lives better. It's just those two types of people, and we're stuck in between like people getting tired of the liberals, then going back to the fascists, then people getting scared by the fascists and going back to like the middle of the road liberals. And I don't know if we can escape. Maybe this is purgatory.
No, for real. We're stuck in hell, man. I don't know what circle this is, but it's fucked.
Ugh. Welcome back to Head in the Office, everybody.
Welcome.
It's Monday, September 8th. We're here bringing you some more Hiddo. Today we got to talk about the CDC. Mm-hmm. We got to talk about economy down bigly.
Economy down huge.
We're going to talk a little bit about Epstein and the fact that Trump was actually a white hat pedophile this whole time.
Yeah, man. I just want to say, when it comes to the whole Epstein stuff, news cycle, it's just like the good old days. Hiddo. News cycle hit us like a truck. Mm-hmm. News cycle punched us in the face with that one, man.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. Speaking of the good old days, next week only one episode is going to be releasing.
Speaking of the good old days.
Yeah, speaking of the good old days, we're only getting one episode out next week because on Wednesday I will be going into surgery. Nothing crazy, just getting the metal out of my arm. Shout out those of you that remember a year ago.
That's right.
When we were online for like 2 or 3 weeks because I couldn't drive anywhere.
And then I got COVID.
So next week is only going to be one episode. Week after, we should be back to our regularly scheduled programming. Also, one other announcement.
Yes.
I was a special guest on the podcast called For the Sake of the Argument with Lori Goldman.
Cool podcast.
It's a sort of interview style podcast. So if you want some more Hiddo in your week, that's going to be coming out on Tuesday.
Yes.
That's tomorrow for the patrons, yesterday for the Wednesday Weenies.
Yep.
But Tuesday, September 9th, that episode launches. Link will be in the description when we have it. Check it out. Your boy gave some answers to some hard questions.
It's a good one, about a half an hour of content.
That's right.
For you all.
That's right. I'll remind you all to become a patron too.
Please.
Fucking whatever.
Please become a patron.
Because we can write that off now because it's tipped income. So go ahead and become a patron. Give your boys a boost. Also, support the show, early access, all that stuff down in the description. Join the Discord. There's a fun little Discord thing coming up on Friday this week, I believe.
That's pretty cool.
So
Hiddo community putting on events. Shout out the mods.
Shout out the mods over on Discord. Also, if you want to help support the show, you can, of course, leave us a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. Reading the Apple ones first.
Apple ones first today, Spotify at
later.
the end. You know how it goes. We we are pro hierarchy on this podcast.
That's right.
The Apple ones come first, not because they're inherently better, but because they were first.
Yeah, they were first, and they might have more of a chance to like boost them in an algorithm, but I don't know if that's how it works.
Hopefully.
Maybe.
I'm still hoping we get on doing noteworthy because we're not new, but we're noteworthy.
One of these days, man.
I swear.
This first one from Carissa 1991, finally writing a review. Carissa says, finally getting down to writing a review for these two great Midwestern boys. Been listening for over a year and finally coughed up the money to become a patron. That's right. Listening to these two makes me feel sane in this crazy place. My favorite tertiary news source that I'd give 100 out of 5 stars if Apple Podcasts would let me. Thank you for all that you guys do. And of course, I condemn Hamas and all forms of political violence, foreign and domestic.
Oh,
big on that.
Wonderful. Huge on that. Huge on that right there. This next one from Lily, like the flower. For shame, Apple Podcast listeners. I can't even believe that there weren't any Apple Podcast reviews this Wednesday episode. I've been saying this for a while. After all the boys have done for you, these boys have been my personal #1 tertiary news source for going on 3 years now, and I gotta say they do not miss.
Huge.
I'm beginning to think it's impossible for them to be wrong about literally anything. In fact, at this point, I'm convinced that whatever they say is magically the case. I'm huge on that personally. All of a sudden, these boys have mystical powers, and I'm starting to grow fearful of their unchecked power. Also, I condemn Hamas. I condemn political violence or something. I don't know. I lost the plot, dude. I opened today. Give me a break.
That's real. That's real.
That is real.
When the camera turns off and the lights go off, we draw a pentagram in the floor.
Yep.
Start doing some dark magic.
100%. Yeah, and I just see the reviewer didn't put Hamas in there, but I did. I did just because that's how about it I am.
This next one from Moonlight Melody, another 20 trillion stars to this podcast. I'll start off by saying that I condemn violence, political or otherwise, especially the otherwise. I must apologize for this being my first review after being a month-long listener. After seeing no reviews for Wednesday's episode, I knew I had to change this.
That's right.
Y'all have made engaging with the news and conversations around it feel less like doom or slop straight to the dome. So thank you for that.
I gotta say, right, just congratulations to you, one-month listener, already taking up the mantle of becoming a reviewer, because we got people who have been here for 4 years that probably have not dropped a fucking review yet. We got people that have listening for certainly longer than a month and have not dropped a review.
Reviewer, you'll have to let us know how you came across the pod since you only been here for a month.
Yes.
So I do want to know, like, what is it that got you, and if it was Alyssa Slotkin, I'm gonna like that.
I'm gonna like that too. I'm gonna like that a lot.
That got a lot of folk.
That's our best episode. That's our highest rated episode right now. And the clips did well.
Clips popped off, man.
Clips did well. What can I say? This next review from Jeremy's mom. Breaking news: cishet white man can be woke.
She doesn't know what cishet means.
Our immediate fucking giveaway. First things first, I condemn all hummus that wasn't made by Arab parents.
Whoa.
These two Midwest princes have conversations about politics in the same way I do with my friends, so it's easy to turn them on in the background at work and spread the gospel of hittology, especially since they upped to 2 episodes a week. Major props to these corked up white boys from this brown coastal elite. 5 out of 5 stars.
Word. Thank you for all those reviews. If you want your review read, you absolutely know where to go. Apple Podcast 5 stars, or Spotify. We'll get to the Spotify ones at the end of this episode.
Yeah, and don't forget to rate 5 stars on Spotify too, or else we'll know and we won't read it.
Oh yeah, we'll know.
Yeah,
we know how to know.
Spotify tells us. Mr. Spotify emails us, sends us emails, said don't read this.
Also, get us to our goal on Patreon or whatever.
That'd be really nice.
Next round of postcards kind of imminent.
It's coming quick, guys.
Couple of weeks.
You got like 2 weeks left to like sign up for those low key if you are a patron, and maybe you've had an address change. Let us know. Maybe you're just became a patron and you need to get your postcard benefit.
Yeah,
let us know.
Maybe you guys could start a letter campaign to the DNC in mass and try to get them to invest that $20 million not into a Democratic strategist fake job, but into us.
Yeah.
Then what happens?
Or maybe
the mind imagines.
Maybe we need to become strategists. Maybe we need to enter the belly of the beast.
Yeah, DC Beltway. I wonder if it would change me. What would I lose?
I think if I stared into the abyss long enough.
Let's get into the news here, starting with CDC. Disease is making a comeback,
man,
folks.
I told you guys. I've been telling you guys we need to talk about the CDC because there's a whole lot that's been going on there. And I'm just going to come right out and say it's awful and it sucks. Just to preempt this whole conversation, putting RFK at the head of HHS is like putting me at the head of the RNC. Yeah. That is a move that someone would only make if they want to destroy this organization from the inside.
Yeah, that kind of feels like the intent. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
And
it's like, I honestly, I don't even know if I'd say that's the intent from like Trump. I think Trump does not care about anything other than being the president and doing tariffs apparently, and was just willing to give this to RFK to get him to get off the ballot.
Yeah, that's true. Because he realized RFK was going to pull from him in some certain ways. And so he bribed RFK with a job, the same thing he did with Eric Adams recently, and got him out of the way.
Like, I want to say this was like intentional, like on Trump, but I guess like it's not. Like, that guy just is so incompetent. Oh my fucking God, dude. But either way, RFK is quite literally speedrunning the collapse of public health in America. And that's not an understatement, man. Yeah. It's just not. He is perhaps the least qualified person ever to be leading HHS. I am more qualified to lead HHS than RFK Jr.
Yeah, bro is an environmental lawyer.
Exactly. Like, environmental lawyer who then made a name for himself being anti-vaccine. At least I have a fucking STEM degree. I have a STEM degree, and I did research for like 2 years, and I like took a toxicology class.
Yeah, what the fuck does he know about disease?
Exactly.
Literally nothing.
Nothing.
He knows about brainworms firsthand. That's about it, though. He
knows a whole lot about brainworms. He knows a whole lot about the environment, but he's not even like pretending to like... Bro sold his soul. I feel like he is a prime example of somebody that sold their soul for power and is also just kind of stupid on the side.
I don't know if he sold. I think he might believe this stuff, though.
I think this stuff specifically, but like the environmental stuff. Because if he really like cared about that stuff, I don't think he'd want any part of this administration.
He wouldn't fuck with the energy secretary literally being an oil baron.
But I guess being like pro public death just outweighs any sense of like you wanting to care for the environment.
I wonder what happened. Like,
yeah.
Like, does he really believe in what he says, or was there some point where like he had a psychic break and he just like became a completely different person? Like, what goes on in this man's mind?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a whole lot that goes on in there though, based on the things that he does.
We need one of his family members to like explain if something's. I mean, we know about the brainworm.
Yes,
but like, when did he start eating roadkill? You know what I mean?
Like, well, at what point? By choice too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's like he's a Kennedy.
Yeah,
you don't have to.
Yeah. No, political dynasties. If there ever was one, is the Kennedys.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. Way to sully that fucking name. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, RFK Jr. is a dumb person's idea of a smart person, right? And I come to that conclusion by this whole notion that like a lot of people hide behind not having anything backing what they say, not building their beliefs up from anything rational and real by the idea that they're just asking questions. Because that's what RFK does with vaccines. This whole fucking charade that we're seeing right now before he just takes them away from everybody eventually is this idea that like, oh no, people are allowed to question the data endlessly. And it's like, it's a hard thing to kind of like come out and say, like, I'm not saying you can't question things, but you can question things to a point.
Yeah.
It gets to a point when you're just asking questions that you're just ignoring all of the data in front of you and you're just ignoring reality.
Yeah, like I want to say that democracy can't survive like no respect for authority, like authority figures on like knowledgeable people, right?
Yes.
Like we need to defer to experts to make decisions, but it's not even just a democracy thing. Like no political system can survive if the people in power just don't believe in truth and reality.
Exactly.
Like that's not even a thing that's unique to democracy. It's just like if we have people in charge who are saying that it's raining when it's sunny outside, I don't know how the country can continue.
Exactly.
Like it's the end of an empire type shit.
And that's why it's like this just asking questions thing is so frustrating to me because I think it's important to question things. I think it's important to question everything, but I don't question like reality. I engage with it in good faith. And people like RFK don't. And a lot of the just asking questions people don't engage with anything in good faith. And they're just trying to push their agenda and hide it behind this veneer of caring or this veneer that they're intellectually honest when it's the opposite.
Yeah, because like when you're trying to burn shit down and just make everyone's lives worse, you can easily do that through sowing doubt.
Yes.
Whereas if you're trying to like build something and gain people's trust, that takes a very long time.
And when you just ask questions and you don't provide answers and you don't even really seek answers, all you're doing is sowing doubt. And that's all RFK has done with his tenure at HHS and even before HHS with his whole fucking unvaxxed and unafraid selling baby onesies like that. Just his entire existence in this realm of public life has just been about sowing doubt. And that's it.
Yep.
Because these people just want to get in positions of power and then do bad things, I guess.
Yeah, they're just fucking evil.
Exactly. And it's like, getting to like our timeline of things that we've missed and not covered. I want to start with, during RFK's Senate confirmation hearing, obviously he told a lot of lies. One of the lies that he said was that he wasn't going to take away vaccines. This is very important. We'll kind of underscore a lot, basically the entire discussion we're going to have today. And to no one's surprise, RFK Jr. is trying to take away vaccines.
Of course.
Big shocker. In June, RFK announced he would be firing all 17 members of the CDC's vaccine advisory panel. This was something he specifically promised not to do at his confirmation, which I thought that was supposed to be like under oath, but like Amy Coney Barrett also promised not to overturn Roe v. Wade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you can just say things.
Like what's the fucking point of having confirmation hearings anymore?
Yeah.
Nobody does anything in good faith. The government, society does not fucking work if we entertain bad faith actors. If we entertain people who are willing to burn their dignity and their integrity to get in positions of power to implement their agenda, we cannot function by the normal rules of society.
Yeah. And it's like, I just feel like people take this shit too seriously still.
Yes.
Like I know RFK Jr. barely got by. I can't remember like what collection of votes he got. I think it was just all the Republicans. But like, I don't know, Kristi Noem, fucking Marco Rubio, like these people are obviously being installed to be stooges for what Trump wants. And there were still Democrats that voted for him.
Yeah,
and like
that
provide, yeah, exactly. It provides like an air of legitimacy to them that they don't fucking deserve in any real way.
Yeah, like in the name of bipartisanship, you voted for the worst and most least qualified people possible to put in these things, just because you thought maybe you could work with them. And I mean, that goes for Bill Cassidy, who is a Republican, who is a doctor, a healthcare professional, who asked RFK a lot of these questions during Senate confirmation to try and assuage his concerns about his anti-vaccine rhetoric, only for RFK to do the thing literally everybody else thought he was going to do and attempt to get rid of vaccines, starting with firing the fucking entire vaccine advisory panel.
It's like it's when Lisa Murkowski was like, oh, it really troubled me. It was really painful to cut all the Medicaid recipients. It's like, yeah, well, fuck you.
Like, no, literally.
Like you are an adult. You are a thinking being. You have a brain inside of your skull. At least I hope so. Like you knew what was going to happen.
You could have voted no and killed it.
Yeah.
Like you could have done a lot of things. A lot of these people that are complaining now could have done a lot of things to stop this from happening. I don't think any Democrats voted for RFK in Senate confirmation. I'm pretty sure it was a party line thing, but even the like Republican holdouts that are now mad at him, we knew this was going to happen.
And Bill Cassidy voted for him, and in like a statement after RFK got confirmed, he was like, the Trump administration has promised that we will have a very close relationship. Like, me and RFK will be working together. It's like, dog, he swam in the shit river.
And then bro stiff-armed him like Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Like, I just, like, why? These people, I can't ascribe it to incompetence with the Republicans. I have to believe that they're just being evil.
Yeah.
There's no other explanation.
Like, especially in, like, Bill Cassidy's case, because he seems, like, genuinely kind of concerned with the vaccine things. Like, how delusional do you have to be to believe that RFK wasn't going to do things? Why do you have trust or faith in any of these fucking people that have just proven time after time again that they will lie to get where they need to be?
Especially RFK, yeah.
Exactly.
Especially RFK
is, like, the worst guy.
Yeah, like he was selling the baby onesies. He caused the whole like public health crisis in Somalia because he was telling people not to get vaccinated.
That's insane.
Like, he's a psychopath.
Bro has a record of ruining public health, and we made him the top guy?
Like, people love to get conspiratorial, but all of that is out there in the public for you to find about RFK. Everything is in the book because he's fucking proud of this stuff.
Yes.
Like, none of it was a secret, man. You knew who this kind of guy was.
Yes. It's like when we talk about him firing the 17 members of the vaccine advisory panel and whatnot, and talk about all he does is sow public doubt. His reason, like the excuse he tried to give for getting rid of all 17 people was, quote, "Today we are prioritizing the restoration of public trust above any specific pro or anti-vaccine agenda. A clean sweep is necessary to reestablish public confidence in vaccine science."
Dog, the reason there's not public confidence in vaccine science is you.
Exactly.
Like, dudes like you.
No, that's literally it. And it's like, I feel like statements like this speak for themselves, right? It's just like how right-wingers claim states' rights whenever they want to play coy with taking away actual individual liberties from people. RFK and people like that, anti-vaxxers, people who will never believe in any science, can just claim public trust when they want to come in here and tear anything down. And they can get away with it under the guise of public trust, just like right-wingers and other people can get away with fucking hating minorities under the guise of states' rights.
And it just like, it sucks that he sort of had has a point when it comes to like public health and people not trusting the healthcare industry and whatnot, like, in big pharma.
I have numbers. Like, he's got a point when it comes to like profits. You know what I mean?
But his critique is not with profits.
No,
his critique is just like, oh, they're vaccinating you and causing autism, not that they're making a fuck ton of money off of a privatized system.
He uses profits. He uses profit and public trust as these like wedges, as these foot in the doors to get into the conversation, to then tell you that all scientists are evil and bought by big pharma, while not doing anything meaningfully to combat big pharma. Yeah. Not actually doing anything meaningfully to understand how big pharma fucks your wallet anytime you get sick.
Yeah, no, it's the equivalent of like saying you shouldn't take this aspirin because it's from this giant pharmaceutical company. Instead, you should drink this potion I made in my backyard.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's good for you. They're lying to you. I'm not.
Ancient herbal remedy that I made, and also that is unregulated by the FDA or any other body that I'm making money from. Big wellness has a larger market share of like the American economy than big pharma. Like big wellness is a huge billion-dollar fucking industry, dude, and that's what these guys push. They just want to sell you their unregulated supplements.
Yeah, and I don't know how much you have on like what he's done with like food specifically, but it seems like the problem he's running into is that to actually make food healthier in the United States, or at least on par with like European countries, we would just have to regulate the companies more.
Yes.
But instead the route that he's taking is like banning red dye 40. It's like, dog, the food is still bad for you. Like it's because we put way too much fucking sugar in literally everything, sugar and salt and stuff like that.
Like, sure, ban red dye 40. That's fine, honestly.
Yeah.
But if that's like what you led the charge on doing so that you could then turn the fucking CDC into the CDP, Center for Disease Proliferation, then like, it's not worth it, man. Yeah. None of this is fucking worth it, dude. It's fucking ridiculous. But I have numbers on public trust in like the CDC specifically, because what public trust has been eroded by the CDC has been specifically eroded by Republicans during COVID and RFK himself. In February of 2022, 82% of people reported, quote, high confidence in the CDC. In June of 2024, those numbers dropped to 60% by October. RFK in June of 2024, those numbers dropped, I think, to like a low of 54, and then in October they rebounded back to 60%. Yeah. That's like a 20-something point drop.
Yeah.
Because of what Republicans did in COVID. This is from 2022 to 2024.
Yeah, it's because they relentlessly lied.
Measurable. Yeah. That's a measurable difference. RFK Jr. and the Republicans made up a problem to put themselves in power, only to force the country to adopt these perverted solutions that will just hurt people. Yeah. Just like how they hurt people during the pandemic. Vaccine hesitancy and skepticism came about in a big way because Republicans made it a party issue. So that they could get in power by killing people.
And it's actually interesting to me that it's still like 60% people have high confidence. Is that what the number would be?
Yeah.
60%? Because it's
in
like
2024. I think it's around the same amount now.
Because like Congress, everybody hates Congress. Congress polls at like 20% approval rating. What's the old joke that like Congress is just barely more popular than syphilis or something like that? Like people don't fuck with Congress at all. It's just interesting to see, like, even at a time when people are outright lying nonstop about the CDC, American medicine, public health and stuff like this, that it's still 60% of people that are like, fuck with it though.
Because it's so obvious that the CDC is a good thing.
It's like roads, right? Like you just need it. You just need it.
It's so obvious that we need a body that goes out there and says public health.
Hey, don't eat that.
Hey guys, this disease is bad. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
But it is impressive that an institution like the CDC, something that is so separate from politics usually, has been just killed by RFK.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
Damn near single-handed. Like, I get, the frustration people have with the bureaucracy and how slow it moves and red tape and whatnot. The CDC, I want it to be fully bureaucrats to know what they're doing.
Yes.
Like there should be no public input.
Yeah.
As to the determinations that the CDC is making. Because again, we have to have, in a civilized society, some kind of deference to expertise. Otherwise, we're all going to die.
Exactly.
Like we need to let people who know what they are doing make the rules in some cases.
That's why this whole just asking questions excuse, it pisses me off so much. Because one, yes, it's good to ask questions. You should question things. And sometimes you should even question experts. But yeah. What's the point of some people do not have the expertise to ask a question that means anything. And they don't understand that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Some people will just question things because they're dumb and don't understand that the answers are out there.
Yeah, like I want everything the CDC does to be like out in the public. You
And
know,
it is.
I don't want I don't want any of it to be hidden. They should be honest about what they're doing. They're not answering any like moral or political questions that it's up to the voters to decide. But I do want experts making decisions about public health because I don't know shit.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's what I'm saying.
And you got to be like humble enough to admit that.
What the fuck do I know about infectious disease models and like R, the variable? I can't remember what the equation is. I don't know the things that statisticians knows. I don't know the things that infectious disease experts knows. I don't know the things that fucking PhD level scientists who've dedicated their life to study this thing knows. But I know that I can trust them because everything that they do is peer reviewed and is propped up by like an entire industry that is frankly too complicated to rig.
And like that is just like democracy at work, you know? It's like people with different fields of knowledge bringing different things to the table and like helping society out. That is like part of the democratic system, and it's like we do have to just like allow people to cook sometimes. And you can't just come in with a wrecking ball and then kill everybody because that's bad for everyone.
Big proponent of letting experts.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just feels like the entire Republican platform under this administration is pushing these ridiculous authoritarian solutions to problems that they made up or problems that they fear-mongered about to a level that just doesn't exist. It's what we're seeing. It's what we're seeing with the mass deportations. It's what we're seeing with all this bullshit with the fucking CDC. It's what we're seeing in so many sectors of their public platform.
It's another example of rhetorical drift. That like I'm not gonna like blame the Democrats outright for the CDC stuff because they did get out and defend Fauci and the CDC and stuff like that. But it's another example of the Republicans nonstop hammering on a single consolidated message to change the narrative in their favor.
Yes.
And that shit sucks, man.
And it's just like, I'm so at a loss for how you combat that. Because the CDC thing, the Fauci thing, the COVID thing was the one area where Democrats didn't let up like they did with immigration. Because I will still, no matter what, blame the 2020, 2024 Democrats for where we are when it comes to immigration.
I mean, I don't know. Joe Biden kind of did just like end the COVID era like pandemic procedures. Like now that I think about it, we kind of did just give up at some point.
Like you know when it comes to the Fauci stuff?
No, not like rhetorically with the like there was no point when Biden was like, okay, we're going to end the vaccine schedule. Like maybe they're right.
Yeah.
But it was like we kind of did give up on like combating the COVID-19 after a while.
I think part of that, but part of it was just because the pandemic did die down.
Yeah, it died down. But like after that, I feel like we kind of just like quit.
Yeah, we stopped getting in the news and being like, Fauci is right. But I feel like there's so much bias. Like when it comes to like people, I guess, and like base instincts, which is what people are appealing to when they talk about fear and vaccine hesitancy and stuff. I just like am at a loss for how you overcome such a massive push by the right to just sow doubt for the sake of sowing doubt.
Yeah.
It feels like it has to come down to like an education thing, but that feels like a cop-out. It feels like a cop-out to say we just need better schools, but like you do.
Yeah, and I think a thing that like Democrats don't really realize is that part of democracy is constantly making the argument in favor of like your viewpoint.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you win an election and that's reflective of the will of the voters or like a will of, some different pluralities pieced together of the voter base, right? But after that, everything that comes after, all the arguments you have to make in favor of your positions, that's still democracy at work, right?
Yeah.
Like the most crystallized or institutionalized version of democracy we have is when we all go and vote once every 2 years or once every year depending on where you live. But the process of democracy plays out as you continue to explain and argue for your own positions and why certain policies should be enshrined into the law. And I think Democrats under Brandon kind of just gave up.
Yeah, that is true.
They just like didn't make public facing arguments most of the time for what they wanted to do after they won. And the Trump administration's kind of doing this too. They're kind of just saying like, we won, now we don't have to argue for anything we're doing because we have the mandate of heaven or whatever.
That does make a lot of sense actually, because it's like you think about it, like Social Security, we still have to argue positively for Social Security or it will be taken away. Even the accomplishments that you've made, you have to continuously remind people why those accomplishments are important, or else they will forget and they will go to the other thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's just like part of democracies. You got to keep convincing people. And it's hard because it's like you want to be able to make progress and then just build upon and stand on top of that progress. Like, some things it's okay to be dogmatic about. But when it comes to like impending fascism, I think you do got to take it back to first principles sometimes.
You can't just rest on your laurels here. Yeah. you got to you have to go out there and do the rhetorical work, and that is just something Democrats just stop doing.
Yeah.
The vaccine thing is one thing where I think they're just facing an uphill battle, like no matter what, because of how this appeals to them. Mm-hmm. But everything else, it's just like, just in general, just fucking get out there and talk to people.
Yeah, and again, I'm not like blaming, like obviously it's Republicans doing this, right? Like if people die in mass because of these cuts to, cancer funding and vaccine research and all this kind of stuff, then like that's the Republicans' fault.
But you're right though, it's not enough to just say like, oh, COVID over, we did good, we did a recovery and we came through this. You have to keep reminding people, COVID sucked, but it stopped sucking because of the measures that we took to mitigate whatever this was.
Yeah.
And we got to the point where you could leave your house because we were doing these things, and Republicans were doing things that were trying to stop you from
I think importantly, it's after that, it's like what comes next, and to the extent that things still suck, who's to blame?
Yeah.
Like you do have to blame somebody.
Of course.
And that's not always easy, especially when it comes to public health, but like you need to be willing to fucking throw some punches, and we just didn't see that from Mr. Brandon.
Especially with what we're seeing, like just kind of like right now, like people need to kind of, this sounds crazy, but like people kind of need to be told what's going on. There is too much happening with the government, even for me, to like keep up with every aspect of it. Look at me covering things that happened like months ago at the CDC because we didn't get to it because other bigger stuff was going on. You need to be constantly reminding people to care about things. And that's not something that's meant to be like degrading towards people. Because, like, even I forgot about Kilmar Abrego Garcia for about a month.
Yeah.
And then I came through and we did our little roundup and whatnot, and that's still happening. Like, there's so much, you have to constantly talk about things to keep them in the public conscious, the public sphere, so that you don't let other people take advantage of the gap in messaging.
And I think it's got to be connected to a broader ideology or, like, ideological persuasion that you're pushing, which is one of the reasons why I think, like, Zoran has been so successful. Like, he's got good video, that's for sure, but he is consistent and he continuously argues for his positions. Yeah. And they excite people because they're like progressive and bold. I don't think you can recreate that with like a centrist Zoran.
Of course not.
Like the video might be good and it might do decent on social media, but it's not going to have the same vibe because it's not tied up in the same like aggression and boldness that his ideology is.
Yeah. Like you need to be passionate. It's like, obviously we talk about you need to get out there and hate your opponent.
Oh yeah.
And like, I stand by that. You know what I'm saying? But I guess if I'm going to alter my rhetoric to reach a wider audience that doesn't already like agree with that idea, you need to be passionate about what you're saying.
Yeah.
RFK Jr. is passionate about wanting to ruin public health. RFK Jr. is passionate about wanting to remove vaccines and stop them just in general.
Yeah.
We need people who are passionate about like wanting housing.
Yeah.
We need people who are passionate about government grocery store.
Yeah, and it's like, especially when you're combating RFK Jr., and this is something I've seen Abdul doing, shout out Abdul, is like you have to get out there, say he's a fucking quack, say he's pro-death, he's trying to kill us. But at the same time, like, yeah, you should have gripes about the healthcare system because it is fucking you over, just not in the way that he describes.
Of course, because there are real gripes in the healthcare system that RFK takes advantage of to get his foot in the door. Once again, the profit motive within medicine is something that kind of sucks. Yeah. It's something that creates a perverse incentive, but the way that I view it is entirely different than the way that RFK views it, and that's why it's important. And goddamn, everything comes back to shitting on the Democrats because they really do suck, right? That's why it's important to not just talk about problems, but talk about solutions, because we can all agree what the problems are in society for the most part.
Yeah.
For the most part, I do not think that immigrants are a problem like Republicans do. It's the solutions that you propose to solve problems.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
But back to RFK Jr. and the CDC, man, there's just so much going on. There's so many thoughts to be had about this guy and how awful he is. We after RFK Jr. like just gets rid of all the vaccine panel and now wants to just implement loyalists that don't fuck with vaccines, that takes us to like the events of last week, right? Because before the Senate hearing, which we will talk about, don't forget that, reports came out that RFK got Trump to fire the CDC director over disagreements about vaccine policy, which then caused 4 top CDC officials to just go and resign and protest. And it's like, I'm not a fan of like resigning from your position in protest. I'm a fan of fighting to the end, but like I get it.
Yeah, there's nothing you could do.
Like what are you going to do when RFK is just not letting you do your job, when you're in an institution built on science and empiricism, and then this guy's there?
Yeah.
I understand.
They're not going to. RFK Jr. is never going to relent until you put the mind flayer brainworm into your eye.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
No, literally.
Like, you need to become a mind flayer if you're going to join this.
He's going to make you dig your eye out like Jigsaw and Saw. Like, it's just not going to happen. There's nothing that can fucking happen. And that's crazy. But on before he fired the director, on August 27th, he revised the CDC's COVID vaccine recommendation. So now the COVID shot is only recommended by the CDC to seniors 65 plus, any person 6 months or older, and any person 6 months or older who has at least one underlying health condition that increases their risk of severe COVID-19 infection. To put this, like the negative effects of revising the vaccine recommendation in this way, I want to talk about federal law. Federal law requires that most health insurance plans fully cover vaccines recommended by the CDC. Some states also require recommendations from the CDC before they allow vaccines to be offered over the counter at pharmacies. Meaning, if you're not old or already just sick with something that will make COVID really bad or worse, you may need a prescription to get the COVID shot, and you may need to pay out of pocket for that prescription for the COVID shot.
I was going to say, doctor visit not free.
Doctor visit not free.
Doctor visit not free.
By putting these barriers to entry, these are two barriers to entry that you're putting in some states, you are limiting people's access to a vaccine. You are limiting people's ability to make that choice for themselves, because there are going to be people who want to go get their booster shot that now can't do it because they got to pay the like 200 or something bucks that it's going to cost, or get a prescription on top of that.
It's like the same shit we talked about with Medicaid. Like, we're not kicking anybody off of Medicaid. Well, you put a giant process in front of them, and you know not everybody's going to make it through that. You cut them off of Medicaid, you're cutting them off from a COVID vaccine.
Yes. It's just ridiculous.
It is pro-death.
It's pro-death. It's fucked up. And that was a major point of contention during the whole Senate hearing, right? Elizabeth Warren, I think, was like getting his ass on that.
Shout out Lizzie.
But when it comes to the Senate hearing, right, I thought I was going to like talk more on this, but there's just like, there's only so much that you can engage with what RFK is saying. There's two clips that I feel are representative of the entire 3 hours, and at least like moments that I want to talk about. Because this guy, RFK, once again, should not be in charge of my health, your health, anyone listening to this' health, anyone's health in general.
Research?
Yeah. And this first clip is about research in a way. So why don't we just let that roll?
Would you accept the fact that 1 million Americans died from COVID?
I don't know how many died.
Oh my God.
You're the Secretary of Health and Human Services. You don't have any idea how many Americans died from COVID?
I don't think anybody knows that, because there was so much data chaos coming out of CDC, and there were so many perverse incentives. And these are modeled
You don't know the answer of how many Americans died from COVID. This is the Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Your job.
Do you think the vaccine did anything to prevent additional deaths?
Again, I would like to see the data and talk about the data.
You have the data.
It's literally your job.
For 8 months, and you don't know the data about whether the vaccine saved lives?
That's the problem.
Brother, you have more data than anyone ever, on this one thing. You are you're not just in charge of the CDC. You're in charge of HHS. You know everything that is to know about COVID if you wanted to go and look. And it's the term data chaos that's so just telling about everything, because these people like RFK do not care about data. They do not care about reality, however objective that it can be. They only care about pushing whatever they believe because of whatever fucking feelings they have. And I'm so sick and tired as a society having to listen to conservatives that constantly complain about how, tyranny of the minority, society has to constantly listen to people. Conservatives say they don't want to have to listen to the feelings of trans people and have that change how they live their lives, or they don't want to have to listen to the feelings of black people or racial minorities when it comes to systemic discrimination and things like that, because blah, 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 they get their fifis in a twist about unfairness and whatnot. But I have to constantly listen and take seriously the feelings of people like RFK Jr., who don't fucking know anything, who don't root any of their things in actual data or facts, only go out there and give just feelings. This is just RFK's vaccine skepticism is a feeling.
It's a vibe.
He has at his fingertips the whole of fucking American scientific data. He has access to any expert that he wanted to. In the entire world, that is the position of privilege that he's in, and yet he will not use any of that because he has a feeling that vaccines are bad, despite the robust science we have to the contrary.
And at that Senate hearing, he acts like he's just some podcaster. Yeah. Like he just got called and is being grilled on questions he has no idea about, as if he hasn't been running a branch of the agency within the executive branch of the government for months at this point. Like you're not just some random fucking person, dog. You are the head of HHS.
You have power, and that's like, I guess that's why my brother in solidarity and podcasters should not be given power, because once you get there, like you can't keep up the fucking shtick.
Yeah.
You can't keep doing this. Like you've been put in the position of power. Now you need to be serious. Yeah. You can't just get on there and do the fucking talking on the mic thing. You don't have an excuse for not knowing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some dudes abandon the shtick, or some dudes like do the job. You know what I mean? Or some dudes don't do the job. Like RFK Jr. is sticking with the shtick, not doing the job. Pete Hegg says sticking with the shtick, not doing the job.
Whereas Dan Bongino's the only one trying.
Yeah. Others like get into the work and like just start doing the evil fascist shit. You know, like Marco Rubio and Dan Bongino. So it's like I don't know, man. These guys are just, it annoys me to no end that these people sort of ran a quote unquote, it's more like a pseudo anti-establishment campaign where they pretended to be the outsiders. They pretended to be coming in and facing down these big corporate and establishment forces. Then they get in the government and they still pretend like they're running.
Yeah, exactly.
They pretend like they have no power.
You are as inside as you can be. You are the inside.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no excuse to be these people and not have answers for things. That's the point of becoming the heads of these agencies, because you have answers for things and you have to be accountable to people for those things. Like, it's just this fucking guy, man.
The dog caught the car, man. Like, the dog caught the car and he doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Because none of this was based in reality, and now unfortunately you're dealing with the lived reality of the entire goddamn country.
And now we have people like the Florida Surgeon General feeling empowered by this so that they can get rid of vaccine mandates for the entire state, for public schools in the entire state. That's fucked up. And then we have him going on CNN, on Jake Tapper, to defend his decision. And when he was asked whether or not he did any modeling to see how this would affect the state, he said no. He said, I don't need to do any modeling because it's a moral question. Motherfucker, what is the moral question is how many people are going to die from your decision that you made.
Yeah.
That's what's moral about this.
Like, these people have no like consistent or real ideology. It's just the government shouldn't be able to tell me and my people what we should do, but it should be able to tell everybody else what they're allowed to do. Like, it's the ideology of like a fucking monarch or feudal lord. Like, dog, fuck off. Like, people, you are the same as the rest of us.
These people want a king so bad.
Yeah.
These people who pretend to be these big bad guys, these super tough dudes, want to be like told what to do by a king that they agree with. And that's
like,
fucked
look,
up.
I'm not trying to be ableist, I promise. Like, I don't think we should make fun of people based on immutable characteristics or whatever. But I did forget that he sounded like that.
No,
and it's jarring to hear it.
It is jarring to hear it.
For a moment, I forgot.
I saw a comment somewhere on one of these videos that was like even his throat is telling him that he shouldn't be saying this. Even his throat is trying to stop him from speaking. And it's true. Like, honestly, why am I listening to public health advice from a guy who claims to be like super healthy? Your skin looks like tanned leather.
Yeah, no, he looks insane.
Like, it's like, just like and yes, immutable characteristics went out, but just like the irony here is so crazy.
No, he's got like Joe Rogan body. Like, that's kind of how he's built. You know, Joe Rogan got like the fucking, the roid gut,
yeah.
Also, like, RFK Jr., like, recently, not during the administration, but like in the last few years or so, went on a podcast and is like admitted to doing heroin, and that's how he got to like pay attention in school.
Oh,
like, he was like,
God.
He said some shit like, I couldn't pay attention until I started doing heroin. It's like, dog, you can't just recommend that to people.
And you can't be the leader of HHS like that. Like, you can't be like uncritically saying that and be the head of HHS.
Yeah.
And that's not me making fun of a guy who had like a heroin addiction. That's me saying that a guy who's uncritical about his heroin problem should not be the guy that's making health policy decisions for the country.
Also, someone who has admitted to being friends with Epstein. RFK. Do you remember that?
I do not remember that. That's crazy.
He's admitted, like, yeah, I was probably on Epstein's flight a few times. He has said it. And like, I mean, trigger warning for anybody like sexual abuse and stuff. Like,
of course.
RFK Jr. is an out and about rapist. Like, he's admitted it before.
Really?
Yeah. Like, he was like, oh yeah, I have skeletons in my closet.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah. Like, he is a fundamentally evil person and just nobody cares.
Wow, this is such a fake fucking country, man. How the fuck eggs got too pricey and now we're here?
Yeah.
You can't mean to tell me that like eggs being pricey is Oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
This is absurd. And I mean, speaking to the point of how absurd this is, how absurd his past is, and how absurd his present is, and how absurd the future will be, I want to talk about I want to play a clip about his justification for why he fired the CDC director. Because it was reported that it was about vaccine disagreements over vaccine policy. CDC director said, bro, chill. And he said, you're out of here, and then called up Trump and told her to kick her out of here. But this is kind of like how he defended that decision.
Medicaid will
tell the head of the CDC that if she refused to sign off on your changes to the childhood vaccine schedule, that she had to resign?
No, I told her that she had to resign because I asked her, are you a trustworthy person? And she said no. So if you had an employee who told you they weren't trustworthy, would you ask them to resign, Senator?
So, I'm sorry, but this is not what she has said publicly. She has said
I'm not surprised about that.
So you're saying she's lying?
Yes. Every conversation I had with her, there were witnesses.
Let me get this straight. This is the same.
The boldness of that, to just like throw that out there, like, oh, she told me she was bad at her job and sucked and that she was awful, so I fired her.
Like she's a lying bureaucrat. She's like a threat to public health, but she admitted to me that I can't trust her, that she's untrustworthy.
Yeah. What? You two have a public, well, not public, but it's reported that you guys are having tension over the direction that you want to take this organization. And then she gets fired, and you're telling me it's not because of the tension, it's because she told you couldn't trust her?
Like, again, my point, like, these people think they're still just podcasters. Like, Doug, you're in front of a Senate committee. Like, you can't just say shit like that.
You shouldn't be able to, like, get away with that shit. Yeah. And that really is, like, what too much podcast does to somebody. That's podcaster brain just, like... When you're on a podcast, like, obviously, like, you have a responsibility. I take this very seriously, maybe sometimes even too seriously than I should, and read too many goddamn articles. But honestly, that's not a negative, right? I try and think really hard about the things that I'm going to say, and I sometimes get it wrong. But, like, when I get it wrong, it's not a huge deal most of the time because of where we are and what we're positioned as.
I'm not running a government agency.
I'm not running an agency, and I can come on the next episode and be like, hey, guys, I got that wrong. And then it's, like, mostly fine. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, there could still be an impact, blah, blah, blah. When you attract an article, it doesn't get as much what hits as the original one. I digress. I don't like that. I feel bad and icky when I get a piece of information wrong on an episode of the podcast that doesn't even get clipped. Oh, yeah. And that only a couple thousand people listen to because I'm putting information out there and people trust me to put that information out there, and I got it wrong. This motherfucker is the head of HHS, and he's just lying and not even being, like, slick about it. But he thinks he is.
He just doesn't give a shit, man. It's fucked up.
He did not eat with that one, man.
And he thought he did. He thought he owned her. He thought he owned her.
And that'll come up later in the episode, just this idea that, like, right-wingers right now in the position kind of getting caught on the back foot and just throwing out Hail Marys.
Shout out Mike Johnson.
Shout out Mike Johnson.
Bro,
we'll talk about that a little bit.
Obviously, Mike Johnson is fucking an evil human being. One of the few, like, strategic Republicans, but damn, I gotta respect the Hail Mary. I gotta
respect the hustle, man.
I gotta respect the Hail Mary like that.
I've never been caught on the back foot and been able to just, like, think on my feet enough to throw out something so wicked like that. I'd sooner rather admit that I was lying.
Yeah.
But these guys can't, and more on that later. But I do kind of want to switch gears and talk about something more serious within this CDC discussion, because that's what's kind of just been happening with vaccines. And I'm sure I missed something because there's too much going on. But I want to talk about kind of, I guess, an extension of the vaccine conversation, specifically when it comes to COVID and the shooting that happened at CDC a couple weeks ago. I was initially reluctant to talk about this because the analysis can only be, this is the extreme end of what happens when you constantly talk about how something is a great and evil moral harm, and this organization or this group are the people that are doing that great and evil moral harm.
Yeah.
It's the logical extreme end of what that rhetoric motivates somebody to do. And specifically in the case of the CDC shooter, he was motivated by COVID vaccine skepticism. In his writings, he said he wanted to, quote, make the public aware of his discontent with the vaccine. But when I think about that, I think about, like, this is more like meta and, like, broader and just kind of analysis of, like, rhetoric in of itself. I think about how we on this show talk about how various right-wing policies, namely Trump's big, beautiful bill, will kill people. Yeah. Like, I think about all those things, and I think about how we've contributed to, I guess, inflammatory rhetoric in that way. But, like, Because many times we talk about how Medicaid cuts will people, kill people, Medicaid cuts will hurt people, and that the Trump administration is pro-death, right?
Yeah.
And on the surface, the inflammatory rhetoric that RFK and conservatives did with the vaccine and what we say about the big beautiful bill and Medicaid cuts are kind of the same. But I guess how I rectify it is it's only the same on the surface. When you look deeper, the difference between the two claims is this sort of like level of delusion that you have to begin with engage with them. And it's not the rhetoric itself that is the problem. It's the contents of the rhetoric that get you to these instances where people feel the need to go do an act of political violence, which I condemn.
Yeah.
I condemn all political violence.
But I think it's like, just on an empirical point, it kind of just seems like Republicans are the only ones that do this stuff.
And that's why I talk about the level.
I mean?
That's why I think it's important to highlight the idea that like, it's the level of delusion that you have to already be at to engage with claims like those that RFK are making.
Yeah.
Because that's going to filter out normal people. There's going to be regular people that are automatically like, what the fuck are you talking about, dog? And you're going to just get the crazies. There's a self-selecting bias for the people who already exist on the extremes of society.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. There are people on the left that go out and do crazy shit. You know what I mean? Like, and that's not meant to, like, excuse any of the bad shit that people ostensibly on the left do. But I don't know. I think about, like, the stochastic terrorism that's been going on in this country for a long time against like Planned Parenthood. Like Planned Parenthood, they have like separate rooms where they open mail just in case someone put anthrax in it. And like they don't want to kill other people in the room, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, this thing has been these kinds of things have been going on a long time, and it's been political violence coming from the right.
It is mostly right wing.
And I just don't see an analog on the left.
No.
Like maybe when people celebrated Luigi Mangione, but like that's about it. You know what I mean? And even he's like a centrist.
Like, even that guy's got weird politics.
Like to me, I don't know what it is. I don't know if I can explain it, but it seems like it's just kind of a thing the right wing only does. In this. Maybe the left wing just doesn't have sauce.
It's like it's just like weird and hard to like engage with it in like a way until I like, came to these conclusions, you know what I'm saying, after thinking really hard, because I do stand by the claims that the big beautiful bill and the Medicaid cuts that come with it will kill people. But that's because there's a clear logical thread between the action of passing the bill and the consequence of people dying as a result of their healthcare being stripped away that can be backed by data. That does not exist for what RFK and Republicans were claiming the COVID vaccine was. That's why I talk about you have to have a level of delusion to even begin to engage with those things, right? And I mean literally linked by data here. I have linked in the description an article from the Journal of the American Medical Association that estimated that the Trump budget will result in 1,000 additional deaths per year, 100,000 additional hospitalizations per year, and 1.6 million people experiencing delays of care per year.
Make America great again, man.
Exactly. COVID vaccine skepticism has been delusional from the start. There has been nothing real that has actually been out there to talk about it. And vaccine skepticism in general has been delusional from the start. You have to, the content of what people are being inflammatory about is so much more important than the actual inflammatory rhetoric. And I think it really does become important too, because then if you say that it's just the rhetoric, you can never go out there and say that the big beautiful bill will kill people. I would argue that that's not even inflammatory considering the data that's backing of it, but like there's a line there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, I think like if you get to the point where you're saying that anybody saying anything that's extreme can be attributed, like if violence happens, you can attribute it to that person, as a little bit lazy, just because it's like,
I think so too.
Like you can call things a moral evil without saying like, yeah, we should kill these people.
Exactly.
Right? And like that's the position we take. Like I don't think we should be going out and doing political violence in the streets, but I do think that like Mike Johnson and Donald Trump are evil people.
And it's like part of the discussion about like the content of what's being inflamed is important, is that some things are just right and some things are just wrong. Like, and good things are good, bad things are bad.
It reminds me of like the lead up to January 6th. Like it is true that Trump said we're going to march over there peacefully.
Yeah.
But he had been lying about the election results and lying about Democrats stealing the election for months before that. He was somming doubt about absentee ballots like in May of 2020 before the election happened. Like everything he had done had led up to the point where they finally did the riot on January 6th, even if he said the word peacefully. So it's like, yes, we can attribute this to you.
Yeah.
And specifically because in the same way, like there's no underlying logic or consistency to it. It's all just like, this feels wrong.
It's just vibes. Like again, there's nothing that normal people can like just like rest on and see like, oh yeah, no, that's true, that's bad, I'm gonna not support this. This is only something that you can capture a delusional base on, because it takes a specific and real level of delusion to again engage with this. You have to fucking engage with a false reality when it comes to this stuff. And when you do that, you're self-selecting for people that already exist on the extremities of society and already are willing to do things that normal people wouldn't do. Because there's a lot of normal people that are caught up in vaccine skepticism. I don't think that vaccine skeptics are like uniquely capable of going and doing something evil. But again, you already have that higher bar of people who are crazy. Yeah. And when we compound this with just like a mental health crisis in the country and a fucking is too much access to guns, you're going to get this.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, once you cultivate this level of delusion, you're not too far away from just like activating people into doing political violence.
And now that we have that established, when you elevate people like RFK Jr. to positions of incredible power, you are legitimizing the nonsense and delusion that emboldens the fringes of society to do something like this. Because I do believe that what happened at the CDC is attributed to, there wouldn't be COVID vaccine skepticism without figures like RFK, without Republicans, or there wouldn't be it to a level that necessarily would have got us here. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of just the analysis of the issue. Reasonable people weren't doing COVID vaccine skepticism. Sure, you are always going to have people who are skeptics of something, but those people aren't supposed to have institutional power. Those people aren't supposed to be figures that Americans are propped up to trust and do these things. And when they do become those figures and they do say the wrong thing, you're going to get some bad guys that believe them. You're going to get some bad guys that feel like they can go and just like do some things. You know what I'm saying? But that's enough talking about like the rhetoric and political violence broadly, which is something I condemn wholeheartedly.
Big time.
I do want to zoom back in and talk about the response to the shooting, because I think that's really what's like politically important here when it comes to this, aside from my own feelings about rhetoric and, you know, your position as somebody who has a voice.
True.
This after the shooting, there's some HHS employees that like sent a letter out like, hey, this is wrong. I don't like what our leaders are saying, like RFK Jr. is saying, blah, blah, blah. I don't have the contents of the letter in front of me, but I do have the response that HHS gave to the letter from employees talking about their dissatisfaction with the handling of the shooting and the situation beyond that. The letter from HHS reads, quote, "In the wake of this heartbreaking shooting, Kennedy traveled to Atlanta to offer his support and reaffirm his deep respect, calling the CDC a shining star among global health agencies. For the first time in its 70-year history, the mission of HHS is truly resonating with the American people, driven by President Trump and Secretary Kennedy's bold commitment to make America healthy again."
Whoa, that seems like an endorsement.
Yeah, you cannot say that after somebody just went and shot up CDC headquarters, fucking killed someone because of vaccine skepticism, because of like the same ideological thread that RFK Jr. finds himself as a part of. You cannot say there's a shooting at this place. I went to this place, but like it's resonating with people. I think it resonated with the wrong fucking guy. And that's why we got to the position where you even have to issue this letter.
They're like, hey, violence is wrong, but like this is a good sign though.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're saying.
People feel some way about this. Like, what the fuck, man? The only people's feelings in society that are actually dangerous, it's not the trans people. It's not people who feel like they're experiencing racial discrimination. It's people like RFK Jr. that so doubt and erode public trust and embolden lunatics.
And like his bored white dudes. Like the biggest threat to society is like bored white guys.
That's true.
And the rich.
I don't remember the demographics of the shooter, but like mostly, it is bored white guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, most mass shooters or most shooters in general are white dudes.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it goes, man.
It's fucked up, man. And that HHS letter is fucked up. That's just like that. That's how you want to respond to that. That's crazy. But days after the attack, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said the following in an interview from NPR. Kennedy said that government officials were, quote, saying things that were not always true in an effort to persuade the public to get vaccinated. During the COVID pandemic, public health agencies have not been honest, he said. Kennedy also said that public health authorities should not be trusted because, quote, trusting the experts is not a feature of science or democracy. It's a feature of totalitarianism and of religion. Not true. Empirically wrong. Trusting the experts is indeed a feature of science. Science is not just fucking questioning everything. Science is not just endlessly questioning things. Science is coming to a broad consensus based on the scientific method, which involves rigorous study and peer review.
Yeah, and importantly, like you can repeat it. Like you can repeat it. It's over. Replicatable. Yeah. Like you don't just like cite one study that no one's ever heard of. You cite things that like people have read and built off of and judged for themselves.
It is quite literally the opposite of religion. Like I don't even understand like what he's trying to get at, and I don't think he understands what he's trying to get at either, because these people don't believe anything, they just say things, right? That's not science, that's religion, brother. Like where's your like
Yeah.
What are you trying to get at when it comes to that point? The religion of public health, the religion of understanding data, the religion of fucking humbling myself and thinking that somebody knows more than me, therefore maybe they should have a bigger say.
And I wholeheartedly reject this idea that like expertise and democracy are incompatible. Like the world's oldest democracies, like you can look back at Athenian democracy, exclusive as it was, like they still had a role for experts, specifically in like military strategy. They didn't just like have everything up for debate all the time, because then the society would collapse.
Yeah.
You have to have some level of deference to experts on very specific things. The big political and moral questions are obviously always up for grabs and should always be debated. But when it comes to like the level of carbon dioxide in the air, I don't want my fucking neighbor to decide that based on their vote. I want an expert to say, like, this is what we need to be safe.
It's like we have debate in politics, and we have debate when it comes to these important moral and political questions, because those things aren't easily falsifiable.
Yeah.
When it comes to questions of science, it is a question of fact. It is a question of what we've come to understand to the best of our ability, and it is thousands of people getting together to say, yes, this is what we believe. This is what the world can produce at this moment. Therefore, this is what we should produce as fact. That's not up for debate. Yeah. And of course, there are debates within science. Of course, there are people that disagree with each other. But those debates are way higher level for the average public to engage with. And those debates don't happen with basic things that the CDC is making policy on. Those debates are happening in academia on niche issues.
Yeah, yeah. And then from there, it eventually filters, at least ideally, to public policy and changes in public policy.
Once they've been debated through scientists who come to consensus through peer review.
Yeah, and like I understand people's frustration with like the experts and bureaucracy, but to the extent that bureaucracy has ever not functioned in favor of the public, it's because of regulatory capture. Like these enormous wealthy entities like Big Pharma or, you know, private equity that's bought up all the housing or fucking whatever, they just influence the government to do their bidding or make the regulatory environment a bit more auspicious for them. Like that is like the threat to our democracy nowadays. It's not motherfuckers that are like, hey, vaccine would be good for you.
It's not the guy who got a PhD.
Yeah. like I too want to destroy Big Pharma, but I just want to make it a national service without a profit motive.
Yes.
RFK wants you to not have any pharmaceuticals at all.
Yeah, I don't want to destroy science. I want to destroy like the middlemen that just take money.
Yeah.
That's it. I want to destroy greed.
Oh my God. What a concept,
a big thing. And I just want to kind of leave us with this. Like with RFK's response and HHS's response to the shooting, after a shooting that was fueled by vaccine skepticism at the CDC, the leader of HHS did vaccine skepticism and then said the CDC was not to be trusted. Brother, like you can't make that shit up, man.
Yeah.
You can't make that shit up. I did also hear from somebody, shouts out to them, that after the shooting, part of like the security measures that CDC engaged in was making employees go through metal detectors. The employees are not the threat. It's other people. It's other people that are emboldened by RFK Jr.'s actions. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And one last thing on like this balance between expertise and democracy. It's like, again, democracy is for discussing, debating, deliberating about these like big moral issues. Like, what are we going to do about this problem in society? But like the scientific, like you can't do the scientific method democratically. Yeah. Like you don't vote on what the results are. You know, like you go through the process, you have other people replicate that process, and then you find the results. And like you said, that's just a matter of like what we see in the world. None of that is like up to a vote. And that's not like anti-democratic to say. That's just the way the world works. Like that's just a matter of like what we see in front of us. And if we're not going to have respect for like what we see in the real world and what science tells us about certain things, then not only is that like the end of democracy, that's the end of like everything. Yeah. Forever. Like there again, a sentiment that completely unravels reality, that untethers people from their lived material conditions, like what science tells us, is a threat to every single form of government, because society can't hold itself together if people don't believe in reality.
And it's like, I feel like I gotta just like work way backwards and not even just talk about defend the American Constitution and the against the Trump administration, but
the
like
Enlightenment,
defend Enlightenment principles. Like I have to go back and like explain to people the conditions that a democracy needs to thrive in. Yeah. The conditions that you need to actually have a functioning democracy. Because democracy isn't just like a word. Yeah. It's not just something that you call your political system. It's something that requires maintenance. It's something that requires active participation in. And you can't have any system where people aren't participating. When you just have people drawing lines in the sand, you don't have people engaging. They're just going on their separate islands. And they should not be taken seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fucked up. And it's like RFK is just doing the opposite of universal health care, man. Instead of giving everybody health insurance and making sure that everyone can live a happy and healthy life, he's just spreading disease.
Willfully spreading disease.
Universal measles outbreaks.
How long until we all have to swim in the shit river?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because that's something he literally did, by the way. He swam in a river where the scientists were like, hey, dog, there's shit there.
The EPA said, no, don't do that.
Yeah, and he was like, fuck you, I'm doing it. And I'm taking my, like, nephews or whatever.
And it's because, like, we should never be emboldening the people who are like, oh, I can just fix my immune system no matter what. Like, oh, if I just, like, engineer my immune system, I can defend against any disease and I never need to, like, take modern medicine. Those people shouldn't be taken seriously. That's like me saying if I work out hard enough, I could go D1. Like, some people just don't got it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and again, like, you should be skeptical of these massive institutions that have so much control over our lives that are directed and captured by wealthy interests. But yes, I have an issue with like a company making a ton of money off the vaccines, the COVID vaccines, but that doesn't mean that you should ingest hydroxychloroquine. You know what I mean? Like this, you gotta realize that sometimes the solution offered by some people is worse than the actual problem. Yeah, and that's the case with RFK.
If I don't fuck with DTE, if I don't fuck with DTE rate raises, I should not fuck with the guy who's like, buy my generator instead.
yeah, because like they're both just trying to rip you off.
Exactly,
they are both trying to get their money off of you. And I think a key component of this show should be think for yourself.
Yes.
You gotta think for yourself, man. That is the most important trait a person can have these days.
Think for yourself and like trust experts, because like it's like I feel bad giving basic advice too, because everything is perverted. I live in a perverse society, and it's fucked up. You know, sometimes it just feels like all the news happens on Monday and Tuesday.
It's messed up.
But my favorite podcast drops episode on Wednesdays. I don't know what to do. It feels like they miss all of it.
That's a curse.
If only there was a platform that I could go to where I could listen to these episodes early, maybe when they record them. Do you have any thoughts?
Boy, do I have a solution for you.
Oh, do tell.
If you head over to patreon.com/headintheofficepod, you can listen to Head in the Office episodes before the curse of Monday and Tuesday news comes out.
Really? Do tell.
And you get access to commercial-free episodes. And everybody wants commercial-free episodes.
I bet there's also a whole host of other benefits and community engagement that they offer.
And friendship.
Very true.
Who doesn't want friendship?
The most important thing.
Absolutely.
In times like this.
Back to the episode. Anyways, speaking of a fucked up society, we got to talk about the economy. Like, if the CDC and the developments in public health wasn't enough to make you despair, then a bad economy is on its way.
Exactly. Jobs. We got to talk about job numbers, baby. So we have our first job numbers under the new head of BLS.
And I was just about to say, it wasn't 1 billion jobs, to my surprise.
To my surprise, too.
The books were so bad that he couldn't cook them.
Which is just so incredibly damning.
Unless these are the cooked books, then we're really in trouble.
Because, like, as soon as this new guy got the job, they went back and looked at the old numbers and they're like, actually, if you do these funny things, numbers are, like, up bigly. And now they're just coming out swinging.
But they revised the numbers down again for July.
Yeah.
Like down worse than they were before. So I think this guy might have come in like on this pretense that the other person was lying to make Trump look bad. And he's like, dog, I can't salvage this.
Did he genuinely think the other person was lying? Maybe, I guess. There's always one person that thinks anything that you can find.
Yeah. So economy down bigly. We just got August job numbers. And I do want to read this piece from the New York Times. Now, look. This is not like a microeconomics podcast. You know, we do not track these numbers all the time and report on them. And I don't think we're going to make this a practice either. But I do think that there's a sort of broader trend developing that we should talk about because the economy is getting bad. Yeah. And we're getting close to like Christmas and stuff. And a lot of people are going to be thinking about like, well, what can I actually afford for the holidays for my family this time? And I think Trump's tariffs and everything else he's doing are going to have implications. So I do think it's important we look at these numbers today. So from the New York Times, quote, the economy added only 22,000 jobs in August. That is very low, by the way, according to the latest readout from BLS. The unemployment rate rose slightly to 4.3%, a nearly 4-year high. And the revised data showed that employment fell by 13,000 in June, the first net loss of jobs since the end of 2020.
Gang, that was the pandemic.
Yeah, nothing notable about 2020. I also saw many comparisons to like early 2009, late 2008.
Guys,
not good.
These were the worst times this century.
Yeah.
And like things like happened that were out of whoever was in power's like control, right?
Yeah.
Like back when 2009 happened, that was built off of greedy men in Wall Street, many such cases. And then when 2020 happened, that was a global pandemic that could not have been stopped or started by any individuals or like countries or institutions. Now we just have a guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
the big economic catastrophe that portended this was Trump being elected.
Yeah. And like with COVID especially, like you said, a lot of the economic downturn was just inevitable. And our government actually, even under Trump, like did a decent job getting stimulus packages out. You know what I mean? And those were good. I mean, I'll talk about how good like the child tax credit and the unemployment benefits were all day long. Shout out for sure. But like some of that was just inevitable, and it came in like two large spikes, right? Like when COVID first started, and then like mid 2021, I want to say there's another big spike in like inflation, unemployment, and that sort of thing. This is just a gradual decline.
Yeah, no, we're just bleeding.
A gradual decline caused by nothing other than intentional policy decisions. Like there's no COVID here. There's no housing recession. There's no bubble popping. This is all just like Trump deciding to push the buttons that hurt the economy.
Yeah, because it's like we talk about how like, or at least we talked about in the lead up to the election, like the president does not have a gas up button. The president does not have like a gas down button, buttons I think it press. The president, the only buttons that they can press are buttons that make everything worse. Everything else takes a concerted effort. It takes a conservative effort to turn anything around or make anything good, but it is so easy to just tank. And that Trump is just pressing the everything down button.
Yeah.
Maybe he's trying to find the interest rate down button and just fumbling along the way.
Well, Trump was asked about this, and he said, quote, "The real numbers will arrive a year from now."
Come on, man.
So we'll have a good economy in the next life, I suppose. I think
just make it through the winter.
I think Nutlick said like 6 months manufacturing is going to boom or something like that. And of course, as you sort of preluded, the official White House line is that the job numbers look so bad because Jerome Powell has not cut interest rates yet.
Gang.
That's why we have an unemployment crisis building.
Gang.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just the interest rates, guys. I don't think it's just the interest rates.
Yeah, apparently it's just the interest rates to the Trump administration. So just for those that don't know, because it seems like this is going to be increasingly more important, the way the Fed works is that they control like these very precise knobs for monetary policy, right? During times of inflation, they can raise interest rates, so it makes it more expensive for banks to borrow from them, which essentially means less money circulating throughout the economy, less businesses getting started, less people being hired, right? Because it's more expensive to borrow money if interest rates are higher. During times of recession or when unemployment is growing, they can cut interest rates down because it has the opposite effect. It encourages people to borrow and makes a bunch of new businesses start. Yeah, exactly. It's like stimulus for the economy. However, right now, we are at a time of inflation. We're sort of at the early end of what I think is going to be a bad bit of inflation. And we've seen this in things like producer prices increasing recently. And we're at a point of job loss, meaning that if we cut rates now, it would just mean inflation's going up and growth is stagnant. That's stagflation, man.
That's really bad.
That's like, the worst thing you can have.
I took macroeconomics in fucking high school, and my like econ teacher was like, if you dress up as stagflation, you can get a credit. So for Halloween, me and my friends dressed up as the grass for stagflation. That's how bad that shit is. It's scary.
Yeah, no, it's bad. And then of course we also have to contend with this. So interest rates are specifically for like jobs and inflation, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how you precisely manage that stuff through the Fed. But then there's also stuff that like Jerome Powell simply can do nothing about, like the effect on the economy of tariffs, of mass deportations, firing all the federal workers, the ending of like thousands and thousands of federal contracts. Like all of this has an impact on the economy that the Fed has no power over.
What if Trump is just intentionally taking the economy to lower interest rates?
Maybe.
Honestly, because like I can't think of any reason why the tariffs are actually good. I can't think of any other actual logical explanation between blah, 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 but I know he really wants interest rates lowered, and I know that during a recession they want to lower interest rates to get people to stimulate the economy again. Maybe Trump just wants to kill you so his friends can get a loan.
And the thing about it is, like, if Jerome Powell is eventually pressured into making interest rates fucking 0%, money free from the banks, then like the stock market will go bananas for a little bit.
Well, absolutely.
Because people will be really excited. They'll be like, oh, interest rates
money
low.
Free.
Money free. Everybody is spending money right now. But like the broader question is like, how good are the jobs that are created? And does it like really matter at the base of our economic system? And my argument is like essentially no. because there's a whole lot of other indicators that we can take a look at that suggest like shit's bleak. And shit's only getting bleaker, even if we have the stock market go bananas pretty soon. So from Yahoo Finance, quote, the unemployment rate for workers 16 to 24 climbed to 10.5% in August.
God.
The first time it's topped 10% since the pandemic. Another benchmark. Great.
Nice. Lovely.
You also have to consider things like underemployment, which is a percentage of people that are either unemployed or also in this measurement is like working part-time, just not making enough money working at the labor opportunities they have. It's known as like U6 unemployment for any of like the policy nerds out there. But that number today for the entire economy is 8.1%. 8.1%.
That's people who are working.
Yeah, that's people who are working. And it includes unemployment in there. So unemployment and people that just don't make enough money.
Yeah. So there's a significant portion of those people who are working. Like that's because I think it's important to highlight that, especially like underemployment in general, because when conservatives get out there and they talk about all these fucking lazy liberals, there are people that have jobs. There are people that are trying their hardest to support themselves, but they just can't because things are so bad right now. And Trump is making things worse for those people that people like Mike Johnson are going to come out and shit on.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I need to note that like 8.1%, that's today, and it's been steadily climbing since 2022. The last time it was this high was October 2021.
I wonder what was going on.
But during October 2021, it was on a decline, right? Like the broader trend was that it was coming down from the pandemic highs of like the economy crash and whatnot. And it's not, the pandemic high was 22% underemployment, which is like apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Like that's a quarter of the economy not making enough.
That's why we needed stimmy.
But right now it's at 8.1% and it's going up. And again, nothing triggered this except for the policies of this administration, like willfully choosing to do this.
Republicans cannot govern.
Yeah.
Like it's right there in front of you, man.
But I want to break down these jobs numbers across industry because the narrative we're being sold is that the tariffs might hurt, but in the next life we will get into heaven. We will do it all right this time, and manufacturing is going to boom. You just need to wait. We're almost
when
there.
I'm reincarnated as a lotus flower.
But exactly. But according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, over the last 3 months, we have on net lost jobs in mining and logging, construction, manufacturing, wholesale trade, information, and personal and professional business. That's a lot of blue collar jobs.
I thought we were bringing manufacturing back.
No,
I thought the whole point of all this was to bring manufacturing back, and now it's just time after time, more manufacturing jobs gone.
Literally the opposite. That's 32,000 jobs lost in manufacturing over the last 3 months.
Nice.
32,000 jobs, like 10,000 jobs a month. We're averaging on average.
I heard Howard Nuttlick on like Fox say something like, "Oh, we're bringing so many building so many factories right now that's going to come back." How are you building so many factories while construction jobs are leaving? While construction jobs are shrinking?
Yeah,
what's going on there?
And we gained jobs most prominently in private education and health services, and then leisure and hospitality. Taking care of old people.
Nice.
So
man.
We're taking care of old people through these private industries growing, but manufacturing, all the stuff that they talked about bringing back to America, is actually declining according to the data.
Cool.
So that's not great. And then so we know that like July inflation numbers have remained steady, and there was like a signaled producer price increase bump that we had talked about before. But beyond
not like the PPI bump.
Yeah, that's what we talked about, man. That's what we talked about. But beyond like the specific economic measures that we can talk about, we know that the U.S. economy, like people in the U.S. economy, even before the pandemic, back in this like time that we look upon with rose-colored lenses during Trump 1, like it wasn't really that good.
Yeah.
People just remember a time of stability off of the coattails of Barack Obama's economic recovery, and they associate that with like being in a better place financially. But for years, we have known that stuff like wages haven't kept up with productivity since 1980. Millions of people for years have owed thousands of dollars in medical debt. Thousands of people go every single year without health insurance. Millions of people today, right now, are in student loan debt. And 10% of borrowers were more than 90 days delinquent as of Q2 2025. So it's like shit sucks now. Shit has sucked for a long time. And it feels like we're trapped in this like ephemeral liminal space where it's like we keep referring to previous points that felt better but weren't actually better. And that's what we may base all of our decisions on.
And it's like we keep getting told to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, but the bootstraps are literally getting shorter and shorter and shorter. One, that's not even a thing that you can possibly do. It's supposed to be ironic.
Yeah.
You can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But it's like, even if you could, there's no more strap to pull myself up by. Please, where is it? Where's the fucking money?
Yeah. We have this like entire, what we have in the U.S. and have like, for basically ever, is a quote unquote free market economy that is that operates for the point of the accumulation of profit. And the vast majority of people in this economy are consigned to a life of labor where they don't see the benefit of any of those profits. And lacking a government that is willing to step in on their behalf and say, actually, no, we're going to redistribute this wealth and you have to protect your workers in this way. Lacking that, like, yeah, shit's just getting worse, because of course it is.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it? If corporations can take more and more and more and the government's doing less and less and less over the course of decades, then yeah, why wouldn't shit just continue to get worse for us? And I think now there's kind of an opportunity to come in and reimagine what the economy could look like, more along the lines of, like, you know, a democratic organization of our economic systems. But it feels like no one's making that argument.
No one's making that argument. And that's why figures like Zoran are so important to be out here and actually start changing the narrative about how government can, like, you know, get out here and do things for people and how things kind of suck for the average workers. And it's like, we didn't even talk about, like, we talk about wages not keeping up with productivity, but we haven't even talked about how wages have not kept up with housing, have not kept up with the rent, and how much you got to pay for that. I was talking to my mom the other day, and she's like, yeah, I paid, like, I don't know, $700 for a 3-bedroom townhouse when you were little. I pay $1,400 for, like, a 2-bedroom apartment in nowhere.
Dude, yeah, I'll talk to, like, people in my life that are older than me, or yeah, even just like my parents, and they're like, here, this is how much I paid after I got out of college for an apartment, and I damn near shed a tear.
No, I'm saying,
like, what do you mean $400?
I was talking to somebody the other day, obviously older because they had a house, and I know nobody my age owns a house unless they're crazy, right? They have, like, a 2-bedroom house, nice house, big house, garage, big backyard, huge deck, $900 mortgage.
Jesus Christ.
$900 mortgage? Where?
I'm paying $2,000 a month, man.
Fucking, I can't imagine the fucking wicked down payment I would have to come up with to get a $900 mortgage. Oh my God.
No, it's just like genuinely unthinkable. And I, you know, the housing market is very complicated. Some people dedicate like their entire life of study to the housing market specifically.
Yeah.
And I know it's more complicated than just like private equities coming in and buying the house, all the single family homes and shit. There's the complicated stuff with like zoning laws and like how fast developers and construction companies can actually build shit. But it's like, I do think the base of it is just that it's a commodity to be bought and sold. Like, the reason that it's so expensive, that it's fucking unaffordable, is one, the things that I listed, but also two, it's like, it shouldn't be a thing that we have to buy.
Yeah.
We should just like, there should just be a baseline. I get like there's always going to be a sort of market for luxury goods. You can never like totally get rid of that kind of shit. But it's like, why is housing a thing we need to buy and sell?
Yeah, but it's like, why can't there just be like dorms? Why can't there just be like a dorm that you like live in? You can have like a little like a box that you can stay in just to have shelter. You know what I mean? And solve the homelessness problem, get rid of that, and then you can have house be this luxury thing. Like, it's just, obviously there are more elegant ways to like word that and come up with a solution. But like at the base, like housing, something so necessary to you being able to survive shouldn't be this thing that you have to be so reliant on an economy that clearly you have no control over to be able to have.
And I think part of it is like the people that own a lot of housing, they treat it as a speculative asset, right? They hang on to it until they think they can charge the maximum amount for it. And that just encourages people to not fucking rent stuff out or not sell somebody a home at like a lower price, right? Because why would they? They could get more money in a year if they just waited. And there's not vacancy taxes and shit like that. But also, like, we're fucking addicted to building single family homes.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Dude,
and in so many
cool.
places, that's all you can build. And it's like, what are we doing?
I fuck with apartments. Like,
I'm about to be abundance build.
No, literally. Like, I'm about to be pro the cool parts of abundance and not the parts that don't go far enough, though.
Just the housing stuff, probably.
Just the housing stuff. And it's just like, it is the problem that, like, people have their entire net worths tied up in their housing, and they will literally be broken if their house sells for less than what they bought it for and they go under on their mortgage. Like, that's what this problem is. Like, housing, I feel like, could be like food, right? If you have this thing that's just cheap enough for everybody to get at least a little bit of it at one point, you solve a lot of these fucking problems. You don't have to worry about a lot of this stuff if there's just a good option, a solid option that's not speculative, that people aren't buying and sell to try and fuck you for profit. Like, once again, greed.
Yeah. Anyways, economy fucking sucks, and I feel like there's sort of an opening to like, especially in 2026, but like further down the road as well, sort of frame economic reform through the lens of liberation from the drudgery of working life. Like, this is some shit. This is shit that everybody deals with. Everybody has to work. And, you know, we talk about democracy a lot, but we never talk about democracy in the workplace or having control over the thing that you spend most of your time doing. And I think that would sell well. At the very least, just talk about how much you hate bosses. Everybody hates their boss.
Everybody.
That'd be like a fucking 80-20 slide. 80-20 slide.
Yeah.
That's easy peasy, man. But yeah, that's the economy. Lock in.
Lock in.
Lock in, people.
Lock in.
To end off this episode, though, we do have to touch on our favorite mayor in the country, Eric Adams.
Yes.
He rejected the job offer.
That's bro standing on business. And it's like, it's funny because it's just an ego thing. Mm-hmm. Like, he's just standing on business because of his ego. And like, legitimately, if he took the job offer, things would probably be like better for him and his like faction because it'd make it harder for Zoran to win. But he's just delusional. Mm-hmm. Once again, talking about delusional people on this episode, man.
Hey, man, a lot of those people, and they got power now.
Exactly.
So, shout out Eric Adams, though, man. Standing on business.
This whole thing has just given Zoran an immense opportunity to just continue to attack Cuomo and Eric Adams, just for the basis that Trump would even feel comfortable enough to reach out to them to collude.
Yeah, even if Adams would have accepted it, I don't think it would have worked, right? Like, we're like 2 months out until the election in New York. I think even in like head-to-head matchups, Zoran is still beating Cuomo like one-on-one. So like I'm pretty confident Zoran's going to win at this point.
He already did.
Well, he won the primary, right? Yeah. Very importantly. But it's so indicative of like where we are and where the establishments of both parties are.
And like, how is Hakeem Jeffries not going out there and talking about how, hey, I think it's kind of shitty that Andrew Cuomo is having talks with Trump or reported to have talks with Trump.
Yeah.
Instead, he's talking about wanting to fight Trump while not endorsing the guy that's actually going out there and fighting Trump, and just kind of being okay and implicitly endorsing the guy who's colluding with Trump.
Well, it's Andrew Cuomo openly colluding with Trump, but it's also Eric Adams, right? Yeah. Like Eric Adams sold out his city to ICE so that they would drop the charges. Like explicitly, that's what happened. Yeah. They dropped the charges, and then he went on. He was in the fucking cuck chair on multiple sessions of like MSNBC and Fox News, while Tom Homan's like, "Yeah, we're coming into New York and getting the immigrants, right, Eric?" like we know what happened here, and you're still not advocating for Zoran.
So fucking crazy.
Like Hakeem Jeffries cannot get out there and say like, "I'm fighting back against Trump. These Medicaid cuts are going to kill people, so on and so forth," and then be like, "Well, I don't know if Zoran's the guy."
And Zoran continues to kill it, man. He continues to go out there and just kill it. Fuck, we don't even have talking about like the interview he just did. I haven't like taken a look at it yet. Maybe that'll become a segment.
The I've Had It interview?
I don't know exactly what it was.
Two old white ladies?
No. The one lady, I think it was CNN, or it was like a news interview. And I the one question that I saw, the clip from it was, Elon Musk is on pace. Like he was just share blah, 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 just approved a new compensation package that would put him on pace to become the first trillionaire. Do you think trillionaires should exist? Which is a wicked fucking question because billionaires shouldn't even exist. You trillionaire? I'm fucking baffled even at the thought of somebody having $1 trillion.
Yeah.
Nobody should have, a sixth of the federal budget?
Yeah. No, it's just like no one person should have so much when so many have so little. It doesn't make sense.
That's not a question that should even begin to be entertained, right? I think he didn't even directly answer it, but I think he flipped it into like a good way, blah, 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 because obviously people are just going to tell you billionaire things. But either way, he's been killing it. But he also did that thing where he was talking about, sure, debate Andrew Cuomo, but I want to debate Trump himself. Mm-hmm. Like he's spiteful,
endlessly
and it's working.
Full of sauce, man.
It's
endlessly
so
full
good,
of sauce.
dude. He's like, why don't I debate the guy who's really calling the shots, Donald Trump?
The only real Democrat. The only real Democrat.
Everything he does goes back to Andrew Cuomo sucks.
Mm-hmm. Gotta respect it. Another thing to talk about in extras, Jeffrey Epstein.
Man, what the fuck? What a fucking news cycle, the way that drops on what, Friday?
First of all, shout out Thomas Massie, man.
Yes.
This dude, I don't know anything about him. I'm sure he's got terrible positions on things like abortion.
Yep.
And like some foreign policies. I'm sure he sucks in a lot of ways.
But on this one thing, man.
I'm sure he sucks on immigration as well. But yeah, like on this one thing, he has been just slamming threes.
He's fucking
half
killing
court.
It. And it's like, he disagreed with Trump about like a couple things, like I guess early on into this administration. And because he disagreed with Trump and drew so much ire from Trump, I think he's like kind of Zoran-pilled when it comes to the Epstein issue. He's doing this, one, because it's the right thing to do, and two, because he just wants to spite the guy at this point.
I think he's just full of hatred and he's vindictive.
He talked about using the speech and debate clause to like go on the Senate floor and read off the list of names that the Epstein victims said did evil things.
Yeah. Because he rightfully identified that, like, if the Epstein victims got out and started saying, like, Donald Trump did this, they would either be sued or disappeared.
Exactly. Exactly. They'd
so
be sued
sort of
for libel,
them.
defamation, whatever, and he's doing that. And then he flat out named somebody who was, like, implicated on the flight logs. He's like, it's public information, but I'm going to tell it because everybody who's on that list should be told. Like, we should know. It shouldn't be redacted by the Trump DOJ.
Yeah, he might be the only principled conservative.
Yeah, no,
which I didn't think there could be such a thing. Because it's just too full of contradictions.
It's not Mike Johnson, I can tell you.
No,
we're talking about principled conservatives. It's not the guy who's throwing out the craziest Hail Mary of 2025, dude.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Actually, Donald Trump was an FBI informant. I've never been so caught on the back foot. Like, how did you think that line was going to play?
Where did that come from? Because, like, if Trump was an FBI informant, he would have said that day one.
Yeah.
He would have been like, here's the Epstein files. My name's in it because I was an FBI informant, like, working undercover. They went with the white hat pedophilia argument.
Yeah.
They've been so thoroughly backed into a corner on this issue that they legitimately went with the white hat pedophile. Like, that's the argument now. How the fuck do you think that this convinces literally he was an FBI informant? Fuck off.
FBI informant is crazy work. Crazy fucking work, man. Yeah, he was undercover at the island. He was undercover and had to engage in all that thing to, like, gain the trust of everyone else so he could rat on them. And conveniently, like, the FBI who he was informing never acted on any of the information that was given, considering, like, they didn't get anybody else other than Epstein. Mm-hmm. You mean how fucking stupid do conservatives think that we are?
I thought it was a Democrat hoax. Yeah. First I thought there's nothing to see here. The files actually don't exist.
Man that never dies.
The files don't exist. Epstein never dies. We should stop talking about him. Actually, it's a Democrat hoax. But even Bill Clinton's name is in there too, though, even though it's a Democrat hoax. And now he's an FBI informant, and I'm probably missing some lies in between.
No, for real.
Like what? His name's got to be all over these pages, man.
It should be illegal to lie like that. Mm-hmm. It should be illegal to be third in line to the presidency and get out there and lie like that, dude. Come the fuck on.
Because I know for a fact that if Trump was literally an informant on Epstein, he would have used that as a political slam dunk by now.
For sure.
Because he would have
ran on that.
Yeah, he would have been like, I'm a hero. Like, I stopped Epstein. Like, I was the one who finally got him arrested, got him taken down. But instead, he's just, like, hiding it.
Yeah, he would have been at the press conference when they first brought him in.
Yeah.
Like, it was under his administration. Like, there's no fucking world where Trump was just giving them information on Epstein if he wasn't privy to it. And that kind of, like, if Trump was an informant, that kind of blows the whole lid on the idea that, like, it's a hoax. Mm-hmm. That blows the whole lid on the idea that, the Ezra Klein defense, that Jeffrey Epstein was doing the pedophile thing separately from the power broking. Yeah. Because then what was he informing on? Like, it's just...
Yeah, exactly.
You can't break down any of this, like, with, like, reason. You know what I mean? Because it's just a Hail Mary.
Like, all speculation just leads to the fact that, like, there's something really damning on him in there.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, right? Like, I can't just throw out allegations, but I can only assume it's something fucking evil and horrible.
Yeah.
That would, like, tilt the tide of this political battle.
Trump was actually also, like, doing the same thing as Ghislaine Maxwell. Like, at this point, like, it's fucked.
Yeah. I don't know if those files will ever see the light of day, but I hope so.
I hope so.
Shout out Thomas Massey.
Although he did say, my colleague Marjorie Taylor Greene said she'd be doing this, and it's like, oh, man.
Yeah, strange bedfellows. That's kind of just how it goes.
I retweeted the Senate Republicans earlier because they made a video hating on Haley Stevens. Like, it's just, I find myself just, there's these people that otherwise suck that are really good on, like, one thing right now.
Yeah, there was also that video from James O'Keefe about
yes.
like that guy who was like, oh, we're going to cross out all the Republican names and publicize all the Democrat names. I don't trust anything that James O'Keefe puts out, to be clear.
Yes.
Because he is, like, known for staging these things and lying. So I'm not going to say that, like, that's real. But, like, even put that video aside. We know that that's what they're going to do.
That's what they're doing, like, publicly.
Like, we know FBI agents, like 1,000 of them, were taking off other cases to go through the Epstein files, the hundreds of thousands of pages, and cross out Trump's name. We know this.
That's what Trump said.
Yeah.
He said it's a Democrat hoax, and also James Comey and Bill Clinton and Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton all wrote it and put themselves on to get me down, and that we're taking my name off it.
Yeah, anybody that cares about Epstein is trying to destroy MAGA.
Exactly.
And
they're trying to stop the FBI informant. Fucking Epstein Mossad asset versus Donald Trump FBI asset.
Oh man, I don't know where this fucking story is gonna go. I'm glad that it's still in the news. I hope we get more and more over time.
And it's like the news that I thought that this was just going to be a drip feed of like information, and it was going to be like a constant like back and forth of no, I didn't, yes you did, no, I didn't, yes you did, and instead we're just getting banger after banger after banger. We're getting FBI informant, we're getting all these things. Just the messaging here is so discombobulated.
Oh yeah, they're not. I don't know what they expected. Like, were they just unprepared for this? They thought they could just like
they had like 6 weeks off to prepare for this. Mike Johnson had 6 weeks off his job,
and he was still caught on the back foot. And he was like, "Oh, he was an informant." Anyways, I think that brings us to the end of the episode here, which means we got to read our 5 stars from Spotify. Before we get out of here on this episode, and this first one's from Lucas Eng. Reminder, leave your Spotify reviews on the most recent episode if you want them read.
Yes.
We're not going back and looking at the older ones. This one from Lucas Eng, 5 out of 5 stars. I've been indoctrinating my otherwise non-political girlfriend into the hidosphere.
Let's go.
Slowly but surely. And last night, in the midst of slumber, she straight up chanted "up a million" and promptly returned to REM sleep. I appreciate the funnies, and of course, I condemn Hamas and all forms of political violence, except for the White House UFC event.
That's gas. Yeah, that's probably my favorite exemption we've seen so far. That's actually funny. 420 out of 69 stars from Hank Tank 888. Funny numbers. I've learned so much from this podcast, like how to condemn political violence, how to hate the Democratic Party too, and that is that even legal is a bad question now. So true.
Many such cases where we're like, can they do that?
Can they do that? Well,
doesn't matter.
And then I catch myself and I'm like,
it's the wrong question to ask. Next one from Thomas Zambisi. I don't know how to say that. 5 out of 5. I've been listening to the fellas since I saw them on TikTok way back in fall 22. And I got to say they're my favorite leftist podcast in the rotation. Hito has kept me somewhat sane as a fellow Michigander. Go green, baby.
Yeah, go white. What can I say?
Working on my PhD in our Mike Braun occupied southern neighbor. And thanks to the ravages of capitalism on newspapers, they've been my main news source as well. Sadly, not a patron, but if we ever manage to unionize and be paid appropriately, that's going to be changing for sure. Yeah, good luck with that in this fucking academic environment, buddy.
Wasn't there just like something about like Trump being able to fire the people on the NLRB so he can just put fucking new NLRB, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, goddamn evil people?
Well, I was thinking that, and also just like universities are sort of cracking out on themselves.
Yeah.
So good luck doing anything at a university. Anyway.
That's true. And there was also the moment where Zuckerberg was at like that dinner and he's like, we're going to invest $600 billion into the economy, and then leans into Trump and he's like, I'm not sure what number I was supposed to go with, but I just threw that one out there.
Yep. He's just in on it.
There aren't words. Like, there's nothing I can say. Like, it's so plainly in front of your face that these people have too much money and they use that money to make your life worse and make theirs better.
Was that like a tech meeting or something?
I think so.
Because I saw like Tim Apple was there too, and he was like, yeah, I'm really proud to work with this president. And like 4 years ago, he was like, it's a disgrace that Trump did January 6th.
Everybody fucking kissing the ring. Dude. Yeah. Kissing the ring and then just openly lying for that guy. But Zuckerberg wasn't somebody who I thought had integrity. Money talks. What can I say? This next one from Danedon Hunter, 5 out of 5 great runes. I condemn thoughts and prayers and all political violence. As a Kansan who just turned 37, it's rough here in Wheatland. I've been listening to you for 3-ish years and have not missed an episode since early 2022. Whoa. When I found you on TikTok, you've been a staple to my workday alongside Cool Zone Media Pods, God Awful Movies, The No Rogan Experience, Skeptics with a K, Knowledge Fight, and some more news. Keep showing the rest of us tarnished how Hito handles geopolitics, and that we will. Because I don't see a single geopolitics podcast other than us in that rotation.
Yeah, that's quite a media diet right there.
Quite so.
This next one from Lily Eliza, 5 out of 5 stars, but I wanted to say that since you started doing the comment stuff on Spotify, I've started to see Hito on my front page.
Let's go.
Been listening to Hito for years, but I have to use the search. It's working, I guess.
We're infecting phones across the place. The woke mind virus, it's proliferate. The woke mind virus, as Hito has manipulated it, and also the measles, just proliferating through the country.
Yeah, well, I mean, one good thing and one bad thing. What are you gonna do?
I can't believe
one good thing and one bad thing of equal.
I forgot to mention the RFK section. That you remember when he said that the COVID vaccine was like genetically made to avoid Ashkenazi Jews and the Chinese.
Yeah.
That's the guy that's determining vaccine policy. I'll leave you with that. But this last review,
well, it's because China and the cabal collaborated on the vaccine to kill white people.
The cabal being Ashkenazi Jews, of course. Always. Yes. They're so fucking Stupid.
It's embarrassing that these are our political enemies, man. It really is.
That's the guy that you expect me and doctors to take seriously when it comes to learning things and health and public safety.
Yeah, like we're not going up against like a sort of like Star Wars coded ISB.
Yeah.
We're going up against a dude who had a brain worm.
Yeah, those guys are so effective.
Yeah, it's whatever, man. What are we supposed to do?
We're supposed to read this last review from Anya. 5 out of 5 stars. Hiddo boys, please save me. Donald Trump sent me an email saying he's going to get me with a heart attack gun because I am transgender. And 6 years ago, I was a bench warmer on my high school volleyball team. If I disappear, tell my family that I condemn Hamas and all forms of political violence. That we will. And that we will.
Too true. Thank you all for leaving those reviews. You know where to go if you want yours read, Spotify or Apple. And lastly, we got to thank our wonderful patrons for making this episode possible.
Yes, and if you want to join this list with these beautiful people and get your name read out at the end of every single show, every single time we do not pre-record these, then you can go to patreon.com, just head in the office and check out the tiers. Help us reach that next goal. But I got to give a special thanks to Caden Kraut, Chris the Postman, Christy Beck, Mike Japlinski, Clayton LaFed, Mark Yeager, Caleb Joy, Rich Taro, Tari Fergalaki, Max Vasquez, Jacob Rogers, Colton Newberry, Fixer Punk, Jim Egbers, Big Burrito, Cincy Alex, Joe Sensrom, Adrian Sandoval, Chloe Sam 601, Colleen Cuts, Jennifer DeVoe, Croft Fishin, Bennett Bennington III, Alexia Benanti, Big Booty Beatdown, Sam Maloney, Ted Cruz's Boy Toy, Dictator Chase, Luke O'Shea, Cocker Tarleson, Danielle Jackson, The Word of Microsoft, Jennifer Size, Aaron and his Gundams, Darth Father, Taylor for Content, Corey Chambers, Retro Mondo, Veronica, aka V, Raxon, Ash Smith, The Grotler, Murder in a Trenchcoat, Casey Lynn Kelly, A.K. Ghana, Guana Zahn, Zach Lantian, Austin Grimes, Marcus Corbett, Caleb Roper, Taylor Ransack, Cammy, Tylen Freeman, Isaac Hodges, Madeline C., Anna Vlanick, KZC, Sayesta West, August, Particular Bigman, Sir Capelot, Jeff Sines, Brenda's Egg, Froggy Gundrop, Jackie Boy, Shameless, Coherent Babbles, MJ is Sharp, Michaela Muncie, The Wallace 3000,
Chris T, Kashan Lala, Amanda R, Tyler J, Particulon, Memfrez, Rhonda Stiletto, Midwest Marxist, Joe the Mailman, Gary from West Michigan, Shawnee GG, Juniper Not Jupiter, Stacked Crabs, I Crowley, Urban Peach, Lord of Forlorn, Holt Forsyth, Booty Snakes, Dew Fairy, Chelceratops, Austin Lima, Lane Waltz, Azim Fida Hussein, Gorgeous Girl Mukes, Brooklyn G, Noverk the Dastardly, Goldthorn, Addie Book, Merlin, Cryobangi, Sergeant Pookie, Hoodie, Kim Kitaragi, Rose Grimm, Kristen, Jamie the Young Extremist, Jack the Heathen, Archer W, Evan Mingo, AJ Torres, Elo Nico, Seth, almost skipped over Jake Hall.
Oh my goodness.
Almost skipped over Jake Hall. Sorry, Jake Hall. Seth Schmidt, Noah Sajas, Majowa, Ultra the Dragon, Mercy Boku, Dick Cheney and 6-inch Heels, Luke Wechter, Henry Kraggles, Tristan Ringsmith, Yaya, Asura the Atheist, Aiden Reese, Deep State Agent, Puddle Pirate, Southern Lefty, Lark61, KC, Cannon Man, Troy H, Rock Muffalo, Nahan San Diego, Nut Mode, Nick from New Haven, Connor Nix, Sound Logic, Sleven, I Have Never Made a Woman Orgasm, John from Houston, Jordino, and my mom. Thank you all so much.
Shouts out
for supporting the show on Patreon. Couldn't do it without you.
No.
And we'll see the thought leaders on Thursday.
Yes, we will.